Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to create a whole bunch of uh, background asset models that will form the grungy look. These objects will be like, um, in Star Wars, those background objects that are really grungy, rusty, and kind of not working, and just in the side being piled up. So we're going to just build a bunch of objects and hopefully copy that vibe using the add-ons. Okay, so we're going to just start with a bunch of primitives to create those shapes. So this will be a cylinder. So if you're scaling in edit mode, you don't have to apply the scale in object mode. Okay, so let's just create variations of this primitive shapes. And then we can join the objects together. And after the, or hopefully join them together and use the, I haven't really researched if you can set a collection as an asset. Maybe I'll do it after this video. Would slice and quickly modify that. And auto mirror X, Y, and Z. Oops, I should have. Auto mirror can work on multiple objects, by the way, but the eyedropper, you have to pick the real geometry side using the active object. If you use the other selected object, it won't work. It will say mirror axis not found. There we go. And okay, let's just start with this four objects. Shade auto smooth. So this is a great. We're gonna drive the entire design using randomization. And let's start with uh, and also use a merge. So the details will be merged to the source object. So this is a destructive process. So we're using number for the size mode instead of percent. Okay. So this means that with number minimum, for example, this on this value here 1, meaning that the minimum number of faces or face that a panel island could have is 1, and the maximum is 30 faces. Okay, so we increase this. If you increase the panel size, you increase the size of the panels, and therefore you get more relaxed areas, less details. And if you decrease it, you get lots of panel islands, so more details. And this is relative to the subdivision you're using. So more faces means more. So more subdivision means more faces for the randomization to play with. Okay, so I think I have event offset to set the event offset to on. Join tries is going to be in the next update, so that's why I'm not uh, using it in this video. And let's also try random. Random will not work because we have the shade auto smooth. Let's remove this. Okay, remove this. Let's just start with shade flat and random panels, and let the random operator control the shading. So this basically randomizes the shading for the panel islands, so we get like different look for the mesh. So you can see that this looks This will look kind of rounded when shaded. And you can also bake this information if you want. Okay, this looks good. The lines is actually unavoidable. This is the result of the minimum depth being negative. We can try 0. Let's see if margins work for merging. Yeah, it does work. But we're going to increase the clipping. Okay, maybe no margin. Okay, this looks good. And let's try another one. Okay, and you can also randomize the shading. If you don't want the randomized shading anymore, you can just use the vanilla operations in the W specials menu, object specials menu. You can either use just shade smooth, shade auto smooth, or shade flat. Okay, and let's increase this to something like 0.02. You can also play around with the or randomize the depth. So don't be intimidated by all these properties. Make sure to watch the long format videos because you only really have to watch them once and you've learned everything that from that video and you don't have to repeat it. And also read the documentation, the online documentation. The links are in the product page and in the add-on preferences. We can do that. Uh, use that and this one here. Don't worry about the resolution. Let's start with shade flat. Since this is angular, okay, this is the geometric spike. This goes on to infinity. You can avoid this by using, it's actually even offset now. So this is joint tries. Basic, basically quantifies the tries in this area. So that's what it's for. And that's going to be in the next update. So it's creating that. We can try split to get rid of it, even with even offset on. It's doing that. This is supposed to get rid of it. Oh, off. Oh, okay, it's supposed to be off, not on, to get rid of the geometric spiking. Well, let me just show you how you can get rid of it. Okay, so for example, even offset is on. You can try turning it off, but the uh, the inset depth or extrusion will no longer be even and is going to be curved at the sides versus being offset on. You can see that it's straighter here. So we can turn it off, but you have to use lower depth to not make the bloating or the rounding off of the sharp edges. Uh, to not make it more obvious. And you can also try cut method split. This will split the panel islands at the sharp edges, sharp angled edges, but of course, I only use this for like very far away objects, so you don't see the split in the sharp angled edges. And then you can also use something like 90 degrees here while still using wrap. But if you play around with the panel seed, sometimes the geometric spiking can return. So just play around until the cut angle actually cuts that part of the mesh. So we can use this method here to actually have a straight inset depth, but get rid of the gets rid of the geometric spiking. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of the T formation here. I think we're good with this. And let's go over to page 2, shade flat and shade flat. And let the just let the randomizer worry about the worry about the shading. Okay, random panels. Yeah, I think we're already good with this one. Let's try the shading. Yeah, okay, this one here add adds a few more edge loops. So why am I adding this? Because the randomization depends on the topology. If you have just these long faces here and subdivide that, you don't get a lot of lines that go lateral or horizontal because there are no edges that go horizontal on the vertical. So this is what happens in the script when you use the subdivision. And this is the so for example, one, two, three, four. So this is at subdivision level 4. This is the resulting topology. And if we use that for, there we go. It has some lines in the horizontal, but rarely does it get used because there's not too much of them. So what you want to do is break it up by adding more uh, edge loop, thereby creating more phase loop in the direction that you want the randomization to propagate more. Okay, okay, let's create an indentation on this one and randomize. Okay, actually, let's create, let's duplicate this. Should have duplicated the other ones too. Okay, good. We have some banding uh, because we're using subdivision level 2, but let's just, okay, so for example, we have banding there because we'll use oh, this looks good. All right, so we can do better. Okay. Besides playing around with the panel set, you can also touch the other settings to see how it affects the or changes the randomization. Oh, they're the same, but this one is using subdivision level 1. You're just looking for that something that's Mr. 25 or voice 2 and randomize the shading. I think it's too much. Okay, we can go for this one. So for example, we have banding here, and this will be in the next update. There's a new tool to get rid of the banding, at least. It's not 100% um, super efficient, but it does the job. Mesh, smooth sharp. There you go. And you can also smooth the inverse of the flat areas, which are the sharp edges. You can also smooth that and control the intensity of the smoothing. Oops, 0.05. There we go. So it gets rid of the banding as you can see. Okay, now we're going to. Did they look the same? Nope. Maybe I could add more stuff here. Cool. So I'm not using any more subdivision because the underlying mesh already has enough faces for the randomization to actually put out a lot of details. So I didn't increase the subdivision. With merge panel activated, if you increase the subdivision, it will increase the resolution of the entire mesh. So just be careful of that. Oops, I just said it. Okay, so that looks better. You can try it here as well. Oh, I'm using the pre-select. Sorry about that. Select this, press Alt on the keyboard, and while pressing it, click on the operator. So the pre-select add-on will be much better than that, but the Alt key event will remain in random flow just in case. Let's not use subdivision. Actually, let's use subdivision. I want more details in this area. Okay, that's good. And then smash sharp. There we go. Not too much. So we have these things. Now we can arrange them to look like they're uh, useless junk. We gotta create a wall too and a ground. So let's just create. Oops. Okay, be sure to set this. I'm going to set their origin point at the bare base, so I can snap them to the ground, no problem. Shift Q and extras. Set origin. Set it to. Oh, use farthest axis Z. Oh, it's doing that again. I thought I already fixed it. Set origin to Z, negative, use farthest, negative Z, didn't work because it's parented. Oh no. Um, the errors for the matrix mostly, which is this what the script uses to affect the origin of the object. Most of the bugs came from 4.2 above. It introduced a lot of bugs. Set of origin, positive, they, oh my, oh, we have to apply the mirror, apply mesh, and apply mesh. Set origin negative. Where's, oh, okay, negative. There we go. It, yeah, it worked that time because we applied the mirror, which supposed to work with, I don't know, more with the bugs. Okay. So Control Shift Tab to activate snapping, snap to face. Okay, when we move this and press Control, it will snap to the face, but underneath, face orientation. He's having trouble snapping. Maybe it's in the settings. Exclude non-selectable. What are these options? Align rotation to target. Tab. Do not align rotation to target. Volume, edge center, closest. Oh my god, center? Median? Okay, median works. So this is our ground, for example. Our wall is going to be there. By pressing Control to activate the snapping, you can also activate the snapping by pressing Shift Tab. You can see the magnet highlight there. That means it's on. Shift Tab means it's now it's deactivated. To show the options for the snapping, Control Shift Tab, and then to activate that, Shift Tab, or activate it only using Control when we move, kind of like push to talk if you're playing a game. Let's build the wall. Let's get the geometry from this guy playing here. Okay, kind of like the what do you call the what do you call this? Kind of like the from a wall or something. See, what do you call this? Forget what it's called. Okay. I don't have any textures for this, but we can repurpose. I think we can repurpose the grunge shader nodes for this one. And shade smooth. Okay. Uh, can create a proxy box here. Set the 3D cursor there, and create a box here. Here. Create a plane here. Position it right at those two. Hopefully this works. Click on the other object, the square objects, where this the cubes, and then the plane last. This will be our cloth, and the other selected object will be our collision objects. Utility plane cloth, and set this. Use this. Do not pin. It's going up, I think. Where did it go? Object collision, flip normals, pin, okay, pin. There it goes. Back. It's too much topology. Didn't hit the cubes. So quality 5 or 25. 5. and 5 for the mass, and quality 6, 10, okay, 9 it is. Probably detail this part here. Or use this, or maybe not. Just detail this. Okay, so we have our cloth. We can get rid of the cube here, and well, we'll just skip this side. Then let's symmetrize the y-axis. And give some topology for the randomization to play with. And let's just run the panels. Just put in some basic detail there. There we go. Fade smooth, cloth. We can try and edit it some more using scope mode. Pressing I to inflate. Did you know that I used to sculpt before scripting? And I even used the mouse to sculpt. Pretty good. I'm also pretty good with the mouse. Okay. Object mode. So let's start giving these textures, shading, append materials. But with this one, I'm just going to use a texture I got from Polyhaven, which is the one that I use every time. The Shield Floor 01. There we go. And let's try and change this something this. We need shadows. Okay. And then for this one, we're going to add the cloth. And this one. Okay. Much better if I just hide the other objects. Okay, let's lighten this by using limit dissolve. Oh, if you limit dissolve, the shading gets the random shading gets really bad. So if you want to keep the random shading, be sure to keep the quad structure as well. But if you want to dissolve this to get a lighter geometry, you can switch to shade auto smooth. Okay. So I'm going to just keep the random look of the shading. So our flow metal. Okay. I'm gonna fix this and this one as well. Our flow metal. And I'm going to duplicate this material to make it unique so I can change it without changing the other objects. So for example, this is red. Okay. Now I'm going to add a, let's just do this one by one to avoid crashing. So this is sharp. Don't use this option on very high res models. It will crash. It will freeze Blender. Shift R, Shift R. Shift R to repeat the action. So before you use it, when you see a high resolution object, before you use this option here, be sure to save. Okay, so even if you freeze, you have saved the data. Let's use the vertex color we've set. Input vertex color, and we can control the intensity using another color mix node here. Set this to overlay, factor to 1, and you can control the intensity using the color bar. Okay, and this one here, going to set the kind of brownish. And then fix this. Should also fix this. Gravity mask is not. Gravity mask color should be not real black, really black. Okay, somewhere around that color. And for these ones, okay, so that must be the valleys, or no? That's those are the peaks. Let's lessen the saturation. Okay. We need this to have some sort of grunge in this area here. So we're going to use ambient occlusion for that. Color, mix color, multiply, then um, let's see. Ambient occlusion, use the AO, and then color ramp. It's in converter. If you don't know where it is, just search for it. Color ramp. You can proceed to search by using F3 or use the Shift A menu and use the search option there. Here. Okay, let's try this if it works. You can already see the hint of the ambient occlusion in this part. Okay. And then we can give this a color. Darken it. Okay. So it doesn't, let's see, only local? No. Inside? No. Just the default option. And I think, no. No inside or no local. And you can control the distance as well. You can see it propagate. Okay, we're going to set it something like 1.5. And let's try and use a softer gradation by using B-spline. There we go. So it doesn't look as matte or flat in this part. This is supposed to be really dank wet. So there you go. And I think we can let's try another one. Um, like I think we can set this here. So another tip that I can show you is that you can actually move these objects without the snapping. When they're already in the position, in this position, you can move them and then press Shift Z to lock the Z axis and only move it in the X, Y, and Y axis. You can see here. Now it's you can just move it along the ground without using snapping when it's already in position. Okay, so yeah. But I need to watch the the overlap, so I'm viewing it from the top. So if you're viewing it from the literal direction, like the top, you can avoid using the technique I just showed you. I think we can duplicate this. And oops, duplicate this and make it line up with the round. This is what the creative bundle is really originally built for, to create scenes like this. And we can move it. Okay, let's create the other one. The other one, put stuff right here too. Mesh cube, and let's set the dimension. So I may go to the bathroom sometime. Uh, I have maintenance, and I'm taking heart medication, and one of the medicine is like making me pee all the time to get rid of the excess water. Um, just some basic design. Let's try it. Yeah, real basic. Auto mirror X Y, and just set the design here. Random panels. We're still using the same setup as before because we haven't really closed Blender. Let's try for something simple. Here's the panel size to something like 70. This one. And then selecting these faces. Press Alt to select all those faces. Level. Overdrawing from you. I think this is margin. There we go. Just creating random panel cuts. If this doesn't work, we're just going to, you know what? Let's just use panel cut. Panel cuts, middle sharp, border sharp. Okay, and we're going to create a bunch of random stuff here. First, we're going to create wires. Random cables, make sure to select the tube and toggle this off to give an asymmetrical result. We can wiggle this and increase the amount of wires. Then we can actually something like 70 or 40 or yeah 70, and then you can you can listen the frequency of the wiggle by reducing the steps. The steps is the amount of points in the curve. So if I reduce this, they become more unwiggly. And the resolution U is the resolution between those points. You can see here. Okay. And actually, because of the smooth shading, this looks like a square shaped tube. So let's increase the resolution to something like 4 or just 3 to make it rounder, and increase the steps. There we go. We can offset it in the literal XYZ axis using this and the manual offset. Okay, now we're going to create a bunch of objects in there. Um, let's see, random scatter, the cube, and toggle off use mirror to have an asymmetrical result. And zero point zero 0.05 for the minimum size and zero point 0.1, oops, 0.05 and zero point 0.5. Okay, increase the amount of objects in there, something like 50, and use scale seed greater than 1 to randomize them, and also the same for rotation. And we can um, offset this using the offset, make it rise up. Okay, so there's a bunch of wirings and squarish objects in there. We don't have to detail the square objects, or yeah, depending on the distance that you're rendering this from, you can just use textures to basically detail this. So we're going to use you can approach this in two things using creative flow. You can draw the faces, but make sure that the cursor is in the center of the origin point of the object, or we must follow the shape of the bin here. Okay, so select the metallic trash, draw faces, and just create a square. So we created the Shift G. There we go. Shift G locks it to the position of the 3D cursor. That's why we snapped it to the origin of the object. Or you can just manually, of course, draw the shape if you want. And control middle mouse button, control drag, not middle mouse button, control mouse drag to increase the thickness, alt mouse drag for the offset. Then we're going to, oops, we forgot the mode, sorry. And copy the shape. Make sure there's a little bit of overlap for space to confirm the shape. And while in the second mode, use number 3 for the intersect boolean. You can see that the overlap or the clipping geometry in this part here are green. Okay, that's for drawing. And you can also do this. You can add the cube once you position the 3D cursor correctly, and then increase that. Select the cube and then the source object or the design object, then boolean objects, boolean to active, okay, boolean to the source object, which is our active object, and intersect. So that's how you can do it with That's with creative flow. Alt H. Now there's no clipping. We can actually use apply mesh to apply the boolean, or go to the boolean submenu, use the apply boolean modifiers. You can also use apply mesh, and it when it detects a boolean, it will behave much like the apply boolean modifiers. Okay, so let's see. Random vertex color. Sharp. So for this one, these are separate faces. So islands. And this one here, we're going to transform it to mesh because we can assign vertex color to a curve object, random vertex color, and then we're going to use this one, uh, yellow to, yeah, with saturation. Then island, you have that. Okay, now we can set the our main material, which is the airflow metal. Where's the other airflow metal? Oh, okay. There you go. This is a bit saturated, so let's just reduce the saturation to 0.8, 0.4, okay, 0.2. There we go. So you can still change the width of the wires by selecting everything. I'm using Alt S to shrink and fatten. Okay. So this is our scene, like our random scene. Okay, let's experiment with the lighting to see if actually, wait. I'm gonna try and model something here. Like if somebody left like a torch or a flashlight, you say XY, give it some topology to better for the randomizer to work better with it. Uh, Apply the scale. Oops. Just yeah. And then here we're going to intersect faces. Oops. Add intersect cylinder. Use the normal of the active or selected faces. And go to smooth. Random vertex color. Sharp. Oops, it's colored. The reason why I usually just use desaturated colors is there's not there's less work using them uh, compared to vertex color. Saturated vertex color. We set this to set the material, sign material. So this is just an experiment. If it doesn't look good, we're just gonna delete it. Add a material, not a vertex color material. Yeah, and set the emission to something like 25. Set the base color to black so it doesn't affect the emission. I think we're gonna need a lot more for this to really affect the scene. Yeah. So let's see. Is it parented to the no parent this and let's set it down to the ground where it's dark. Extras. Set origin to what? There we go. And control tab. Control. Press control. Not control tab. Press control while you're moving to activate snapping. So if somebody just left like flashlight there, and you can't find it anymore because it's hidden there. So this is kind of like our scene. And let's try another one. Let's position the 3D cursor there or not. So press C in this area to make sure that it's the distance by which the draw object will be created. Press 4 for the strips and increase the thickness. Make sure to add another line. So the last line will not be considered. And this is turn off boolean by pressing B. Okay. And add an edge loop there. Then extras, edges to curve, get rid of the source object, and then bevel the sharp corner. Something like 4. Okay. Now we can move it in the 3D cursor. Uh, Before moving it, we should model something like a lamp here. Cursor selected, so I'm not removing the. Actually, let's just turn it into a mesh. Now here, just your basic lamp. Let's assign the material, the emission, which I should have named. Parent that parent this to this object here and rotate it. Cursor selected and set origin to the 3D cursor. Assign material, R flow metal, and then repeat the assignment here with the emit and assign material, R flow metal. Then let's go. We're just going to give this just a basic vertex color per object. There we go. So we have we have the flashlight there as well. Then we can add an edge loop here. Inset this and bevel. Then shade auto smooth. Okay. So for the I'm using a non-texture procedural shader, so we don't need to UV this. But if you want to UV this, the random panels actually have these islands UV. This is available for random panels in when using the merge toggle. And when you press U and just unwrap, this is what you get. Might need a little work to make this flatter because this the model is angular. You can use something like text tools to make this straighter if you want, because as you can see, this looks organic, and we need it to be straight. This UV islands to be straight because the model is angular. But the work, you can see that the islands are really all there. They are set up nicely for you. All you need to do is just straighten them. Yeah. If you want to use UV. And it's the same for this. If we unwrap, there the islands are already there for you. All you need to do is straighten them. Okay. Let's play around with the HDRI to see other HDRI is kind of like LUTs, but in the form of light. I think that has shadows. Really bring out the detail. Makes the scene really moody. Okay, so um, this is really heavy, but if you're using something like 4090, this is this isn't gonna be a problem for you. So, but if you want to, like I said, if you want to make this lighter, you can use limited dissolve. So, for example, this one, and the shading in the error in the shading is that um, because there's no more supporting edges in the corners or in the edges, but we can get rid of this using shade auto smooth. So basically, you get really sharp shading, but gets rid of the errors in the shading, and you have a lighter mesh. And then you can just tag out, triangulate it if you want. And best of all, the UVs are still there. So to get rid of the triangulation, you can just press Alt J and set the use it. Press F9, set this to 180. Yeah, most of the triangulation are gone, and then all you have to do is a bit of cleanup. Okay. But and undrop again to fix that. But my advice to you is to just avoid triangulation, because the renderer will already do that, and this will not be animated anyway. It will not bend, smile, or walk. So having this as an ingun is not really a problem, unless if you're going to use physics on it and destroy it into a gazillion pieces, then you need quad structure or not. I'm not really proficient on those matters, like Houdini. Vex, is it Houdini? Wait, why did it rise up? Okay, so yeah, that is it, and this is how you can create the scene. Just basically doodle the scene. I don't know if you can, if you don't, if it isn't possible for you to uh, use this. I mean, what do you call this? Assign this multiple objects as an asset, then you can always just um, copy this. Select the entire objects, Control C to copy, And then when you open a new file, or for example, you open your scene that you're working on, you want to paste this, just go there and Control V. Then you have the oops, some may, some objects may be out of place, but you can just place them back like so. There you go. And when you render, the materials are all. That's the great thing about Blender. The material, everything, every attribute is pasted, copy pasted. So cool. Okay, so yeah, did I save it? Yeah, I saved it, but this got destroyed. Okay, so this is how you create the scene and just basically have fun with the add-ons and do some stuff. You can create uh yeah other objects. Make it lighter using limit dissolve. And after this, you can build like this can be rendered uh mid-range or far away, and it can even be rendered close up next to your hero right here. Okay, so yeah, I hope you learned something new watching this video. Again, I urge you to watch the long format videos because you're only gonna watch it once and you've learned everything from it. So you don't have to watch it repeatedly. And yeah. If you have any questions, use the comment section below or the links in the description. And be sure to subscribe and hit notify. And like this video to show it to more people because that helps me out. And thank you for watching and have a nice day.